Our biggest confusion as spiritual seekers is that what we're looking for is beyond this. But actually, it's the opposite. What we're looking for is actually in this and is this. So when we're taught consciousness teachings, which are really beautiful teachings and they have their relevance, we're taught that there is something beyond this conscious of this. So there's something prior to the body-mind mechanism which is conscious of this. And it's a great teaching because it helps point out intellectually that there is something experiencing the person which isn't the person. And it's really profound how it does that, and that's a beautiful realization. But actually, it goes even deeper than that. So the way life is experiencing itself at the moment is through the senses. And we say in the West we have 5 senses, but actually there's many more senses than that. There's feelings, there's thoughts, there's intuition, there's many senses. But that's the way life is experiencing itself at the moment, is through the sensation of this. And the world and the sensation aren't separate. So we believe in our thought system that what we touch is separate from us. But actually, we wouldn't know touch if there wasn't something to touch. If there was nothing for us to touch, there wouldn't be touch. They exist together. The sense of something and the sense of something and the sensing are the same thing. So that which you experience through the sensing and the sense are one and the same thing. It's all there ever is sensation. In this reality, that's the way this is experienced. And sometimes when we get into this subject, we try to get away from sensation. We try to go beyond that. But it's not beyond it, it's in it. We believe that consciousness is separate from the sensation, but actually the consciousness and the knowing of this, the experiencing of this is in the sensation. Not out of it, not looking at it, it is in it, it's in what's happening. When you believe it's consciousness, there's still a divide in the mind happening that's looking back or in some way intellectually knows consciousness that's conscious of. You cannot know what I'm speaking about. It is only known. It's only the way it is. You cannot see the experiencer, yet it is here in everything. So when you first have that realization, often there is a part of the mind that knows consciousness. If you know what this is, in intellect, in thought, in some way, you as the person know it, it's not it. It's even more direct than that. It's a great pointing and it's a great step, but it's actually in what's happening. So this is an embracing of everything. This is an embracing of being human 100%, because it's in the sensation, it's in the experience that who you truly are is found. So it's in the feeling, it's in the touch, it's in the sight, it's in the hearing. Not something that's conscious of that. The senses are conscious, the world is conscious, because the senses aren't separate from the world. They are one and the same thing. You never see outside of the sensations. There is sight, there is hearing. And it's not belonging to you, it doesn't belong to the body. The world and the body are one and the same thing. And life is experiencing itself through the sensations. This is an absolute intimacy with what's happening. And in what's happening, the world is and isn't. The world exists and doesn't exist. This is real and unreal. But this is a really hard subject to talk about because we only can speak about it in the world of opposites, in comparison, because that's how our language works in this and that. So it's incredibly hard to point to. So consciousness is such an easier way to speak about it. And it's beautiful, that way of teaching. But there really isn't a place to avoid being human. This is the human experience. It's not anybody's experience, but it's looking through these instruments. Life is experiencing itself through this instrument. So in this room, even though there's nobody having an experience, there's life, there's beingness, there's oneness having an experience, it's looking through however many bodies there are here. And all those realities will be different. There will not be the same world. The brains will interpret the world in a different way. The brains are not the experiencer, but the brains will see the colours differently, will see the distance differently, will hear the sounds differently. I assure you, if you ask 10 people to repeat what I've said, it will be completely different from each person. But that is not the experiencer. But you could say the brain is like a hologram. It projects this world. The brain is what creates distance. Apparently, our eyes see in flat, and it's our brain, and they see upside down. And it's our brain that turns it all around for us. If we had different brains, we might be able to see more colours. There could be more colours. If we had better eyes, we maybe could see more detail. Maybe some of us do see more detail. But the point is that's nobody's experience. We think there is somebody that has a personal experience. But there isn't a personal experience. There's oneness having an experience. There is presence having an experience. And this is the human experience. So everything that is touched, everything that is felt, everything that is seen is yourself as oneness. There is no outside of that, good or bad, right or wrong. It's in it. What happens in the human body is when language begins I presume it's language, I can't say for sure, when language and complicated thinking starts at 1 or 2 years old, our mind begins to divide reality. So the way we think is dualistic. We know tall by the idea of short. We know good by the idea of bad. We can only tell what is good in comparison to what isn't good. And it's the same with everything. Our language is always in comparison. So we tell this by that. And it's the way we think. And that's a beautiful expression. And it's amazing. And it creates such a different experience to the animal experiences. But what happens to us is we forget who we truly are. It's not even us that forgets it. There is a forgetting of who we truly are. And then there is a belief that who you are is somebody in time and somebody in the world of opposites. So me and you. And then we build an idea of ourselves in the world of opposites. So we believe we're good people, right people, better than the other, more clever, more stupid, more fit, more beautiful, more ugly. Whatever it is we believe about ourselves, we begin to take that in and believe it to be a reality, rather than seeing that as thinking, and that thinking is in constant movement and change. Thinking isn't a fixed thing. It's always changing and growing. But we believe that thinking is real and that thinking can be fixed, that there can be a truth to thought. But if you really look at what thought is, if our thought is based on comparison, which it is, it's not even if, it is based on comparison. See if you can know something without comparison to something else. You always know something by comparison to another thing. Then if that is true, then that means that everything will always be changing. The way we think and see things will always be changing. When we believe thought to be real and ourself to be a thought, we begin to suffer because it's going against the natural order of things and the natural flow, that everything is changing and there is nothing which is fixed. Nothing. There is no you. The you take yourself to be as a separate entity is a flow of energy that's always being updated and changed, constantly. And that's beautiful. But we get into this mentality of being fixed, and then we begin to be afraid of change, because we believe we are something that is permanent, and we're afraid of anything that threatens that. And we're afraid of other people that don't come across as permanent. We're afraid of other things which we can't control and know they are fixed. We like routine and order and knowing where we are in things, but that comes because we've made a fixed sense of self. We need a world that is fixed in order for us to exist. So we, as humans, begin to fight what life is. The very nature of life is change and movement. Nothing can ever stay the same. Nothing. And this is so beautiful, but also really terrifying to an entity that believes it's alive and believes it can die and is trying to maintain itself. There is nothing wrong with feelings and sensations. There's nothing wrong with the human experience. What you feel to be wrong is the very core lie that you are a separate entity moving in time. And that separate entity knows there is a lie, knows there's something wrong, and is constantly trying to work out what the lie is and trying to get to home and safety again. It's like when you interact with another human and there's a sense of knowing they're lying, what happens is a response to want to know what the truth is. And it's the same with yourself. You are lying to yourself, so there's always a discomfort with that lie. And you're always trying to get to the bottom of what the lie is. But you believe that the lie and the truth is outside of yourself, is in this what we call world that's out there. But the lie is the illusory you. You are this still presence that always is, that's never born, never dies, and is always free. And you might, when I speak about non-duality, I don't always speak about non-duality, I also speak about therapy. But when I speak about non-duality, there might be this sense of vivid aliveness that comes again, or you could call it love. And this is who you truly are. But it's not perceivable in thoughts. The thoughts will perceive it, but it's actually an instantaneous thing that you cannot see, yet it is seeing, it is experiencing. You are experiencing. I can't get this accurately in words. I can only point to it because words come and go and they're always changing. This is not a religion. This is not a dogma. This is unconditioned love, which embraces everything and rejects nothing. So there's two things that I do here. I speak about non-duality, that which you are, and then I also speak to the person, and I point out what that person is seeking for and the games it's playing and why it suffers. So you can either come up and ask about non-duality, or you can bring a personal problem in which your mind keeps getting stuck on. Because the reason that you're getting stuck and that you're suffering is because of the false idea that you are separate. And I can show you how that works. But on that level, I'm speaking to the person that's moving in time. Even though that person isn't the experiencer, I am speaking about that which moves in time. And then I also mix it with speaking about what you truly are. So if anyone likes to... Hey, Asha, that was quick. Sure.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey.
I really wanted to come here and ask a question.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the question is yet, but so there are a few things. You talked about humanness.
Yeah. Yep.
And how it's, well, I don't know exactly what you said, but I think you said that one side is the nothingness, and then it expresses itself through humanness.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
I can't remember. Language is always changing. we got a stream, so we can go back and check.
Okay, so
there was something like that, yeah.
So it doesn't matter. But what is seen right now is that I can't believe anymore in what I thought I was.
Yeah.
And what happens is that then I cannot believe in what I thought you were for me.
Yeah. This is why, I said there couldn't be gratitude. I'm not opposed to gratitude, but because it begins to all collapse, your relationship with.
I'm not at that point yet. There are two things that are happening.
Yeah.
On one level, I can see, I look at people, and when we have conversation, and I see it's not how to say it. There is nobody there, but and it's not even that I see it, it's almost like it's being felt. But I see it as well. I look at you and I don't see you anymore. I don't see you as I saw you yesterday.
This is beautiful.
I think 2 days ago I was here asking a question, and then I was so stressed about everybody looking at me, and I started to feel tension in the body, but then I was listening and I just heard sounds coming around from the AC and from the people.
Yeah.
And all there were just sounds coming, and there is no center.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part. That's the crazy part that I feel when I'm talking. Like I don't feel, like there's no center.
You don't feel that?
Okay.
You don't feel like there's a center, or you do? I think you double knotted yourself there, so I'm not sure what you meant. You know when you do double do's and don'ts and knots? Just say that one more time.
To be perfectly honest, I think the center comes and goes.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is there.
Yeah.
But at the same time it is seen like it's like it can be there, but it's not believed to be. I don't know how to explain exactly. Like it's not believed to be who I am.
Totally.
Um,
It's really beautiful when this begins to be really clear, because there is no body. And really it's just an energetical dance. So this body expresses, that body expresses, and there's an energetic response that happens. And it doesn't belong permanent. So you could have an opinion about someone, but then that opinion goes, and there's nothing which is projecting that to be an entity. There is nobody sitting here. Anywhere, there's patterns. Like humans are patterns. Like, have you ever, when I was younger, I bought Russian hamsters. And I bought a male and female on purpose and told my mum and dad it was two females. They're so cute, Russian hamsters. Have you seen them? They're little tiny dinky ones. They're so cute. And so suddenly, I had 30 Russian hamsters. And each one is unique and each one is different, but at the same time they're very similar patterns. Like there's a similar pattern that plays out again and again, and it's the same with humans. And the genetics are passing on those patterns, but each one is totally unique, but there is no human there. They're information which life is experiencing itself through. It's just that because of the way time plays out, we don't see the growth and birth of humans at such a rapid rate. And then we see the same people and we begin to believe, well, our mind gets into the mindset of these are real people, that this is real. And then we get into heaven and hell. Rather than it just being as it is, it's what's happened to you, what's happened to me, what you did to me.
Yeah, so that's the second part. The second part that is happening now, the second thing that is happening now is that during the day there are many thoughts appearing, and they, like, I wanted to talk to you, and they were, oh, I'm gonna tell her this, and then that, and then, okay, she's maybe gonna respond this, and there's this whole thing happening, but then one moment later it changes, there's nothing, there's reading the book, and it's non-existent anymore, and then coming here it changes everything. Changed already.
Yeah. It's a world of constant change. There's no fixed anything. The only fixed thing is the experiencer, but that doesn't exist in this world, so it cannot be defined. It's experiencing, but it doesn't have a quality.
Can you say it again, please?
The only fixed thing in this world is the experiencer. The only permanent is the experiencer, but it hasn't got a fixed quality. It's invisible. It is in all things that appear and in nothing and nothing. It is everything. So the experiencing is everything. You can't define a difference between that which you experience and the experiencing. There is looking now. And we think we look, there's something separate that looks, but actually there is looking and there is nothing that's outside of looking. And yet, so the experiencer is not a thing. It cannot be found in this world, yet it's always here, the knowing of this world, the sense of being, of presence. If it was a solid thing, it would suffer. There is no solid thing, so there's nothing that can ever be born or died. There's a constant change of energy happening. And this is why I suppose there's a lot of stories about reincarnation or rebirth, because there is never anything that dies. There's a transformation of energy and one looking, and that looking doesn't have a brain, so it can look through multiple brains because it doesn't have a memory. So it can look simultaneously through multiple eyes, and it doesn't have a collective brain where it's like, oh, this person's having this experience and this person is having this. It's just looking. It's simply experiencing itself.
It's shocking.
Yeah. And so simple and ordinary and always been there. It never left you. There was never a leaving of home, even though it felt like it was. It's always been there. There is never a time when that presence wasn't. There is just imagination of its absence. There is imagination of being someone, and then that someone becomes such an intense experience, it feels like that's who you are. And it's really, to be a separate entity and to really believe in that, it's really a harsh dream. It really is a dream of hell in a way, because it's all good while it's growing, but growth has its opposite side of destruction. But normally when we grow, so when we begin to prosper, we're not focusing on the things that are being taken from, the things that are being destroyed. But eventually you, the one that you believe yourself to be, the one that you've been happy is growing and in wealth and beautiful, or whatever you believe it to be, it will then have the other side of being destroyed again, so another form takes place. And on the growth side, it's like, woohoo, we're growing. On the destruction side, we're so devastated because we really believed in the growth process, that was us. And then we're mortified that it gets taken away. Whereas no other animal experiences that because they don't believe they're anything. It's life happening immediately. They are life. So there is nothing that can be taken or given to them. Whereas the human thinks, I'm growing, this is my life. And then it faces the horrific reality of its destruction. And that's the hell. You can't say it's hell when it's pleasure, the pleasure of growth, but the hell is, and that will happen to everybody. Everybody has to go through the movement into something else.
Can I share something from my experience? So the other day when I was sitting here and this expansion happened, and then there was this contraction, the fear. What came and what I'm actually now seeing as well when you are talking is seeing this small girl with my mom, and I can see how it must have happened at some point that this love was put on her, like she was the source of my love, and the love was so strong for her that basically I don't know, like almost the word that comes is I sold myself to this love.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly it. Yeah.
And it's crazy, but right now, maybe while listening to you, because I'm listening to you, I see all the human traumas as coming back to this first experience, but maybe it's not like that. But with me, it definitely was like that. That's what I feel.
Yeah. There's a good chance it happens with the mother, because it's her first relationship, and it starts with relationship. There's the thinking that starts, and then it starts with relationship, me, you. And so she was your first source of safety, your first source of love, your first rejection. It could be the father, but it's often the mother.
She was such a huge sense of safety and love, especially that she was overprotective as well.
Yeah.
So I learned to just be covered by that.
Yeah.
And from there arises many things like fearing other people and being exposed to an environment where I was without my mom for the first time, and I was in like a preschool or something like that. And I remember it was such a big shock to suddenly be without this safety around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I tried to talk to you one time privately, and you said that you actually want, what you want is, I don't remember what you said. You want confirmation or something like that. Can you say something about that?
Was this when we were talking about Roger? Was it talking about the love? And I can't remember which time.
I think you said that there is this energy of wanting something, like wanting confirmation. I think I wanted to share experience.
When we were in the dreaming tree. Yeah, I can remember. So, the feeling that you want me to be so honest.
Yeah.
So the feeling that came up was that your love from relationships had gone on to me and Roger,
Yeah.
and then you wanted me to say that's okay.
Oh, okay.
You wanted me to say it was okay, and it is, ultimately, but because what's happening to you in these talks is you're opening up, and then you give it to me and Roger, and it isn't us. Maybe more Roger, I don't know. But there was a lot of talking about Roger. Sorry.
I don't mind at all, actually. I have equal love for both of you.
And it's beautiful but it's yours. That was my point. It's yours. It's you, that love. It's seen in me and Roger, and that's okay. But it's you. It's you. It's never the other. And so in the past, you'd put it into romantic relationships, and then eventually it gets too much because that can't sustain. And then I think because there was a shift from coming here, and when I saw you last in October, it then went to Roger. But I think now, and me, and I think now you're beginning to see that it's that essence, it's there all the time. And you can have that love when the person that you love is there or not.
Yes.
And then there can be a real resonance when they come. It's different from another person, and there can be an expression of that. It's beautiful, but that love is yours. It's who you are. It's your presence. It's just been hiding behind the person that feels like they're not enough. And so therefore there's the experience of having lost love. But you are that amness, that vibrancy.
Yes, but it's just beginning to be seen, and I really feel exactly what you said. I don't feel anymore I need relationship to make me happy. I don't see it at all like that. I'm not interested in that anymore. Like, sure, it's nice, but I don't see it like bringing me completion. And yes, exactly, I put it now on you and Roger, and but no. I see the shift happening, but I feel like that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I really want right now, to be close to speakers like you, and that's what it's like. I can hear you telling me this,
and that's okay to listen. I'm not saying don't come in any way, but what the speaker has to do is keep giving you it back. Like, so normally you give your heart away to someone and then you trade. But it's like, I'm like, here you go. Here you go.
Yeah, that's why it feels safe as well to have this, to put this love, because it's the only situation where this love is just bouncing back. But you want to say something, I can see it.
I think it's beautiful. Nope.
Because every time you say that, I said yes, but I don't care. That's what's happening, like.
And in a way, maybe that has to happen until that process is more, and that's okay.
Yeah. Because it's like almost like love likes to share with love, something like that.
It used to happen to me with all types. So Roger, if you haven't heard me speak before, Roger is my ex-partner, and he also speaks. And I used to live with him when I was going through an intensive process, I suppose, of waking up, or what we call waking up. And it never used to directly happen to him. Like, it never used to go on to him as such. It would be like we'd be talking, and then I'd be looking at the sofa, and I'd be like, oh, I haven't noticed what a beautiful colour this is. Or it would be like, I remember a woman friend came to stay, and then suddenly she was talking, and I was just like, whew. And I remember sitting in the car with Roger and being like, I love her. I love her. And I was like, I feel like I'm in love with her. And Roger just used to find it funny and a little bit quirky. Like he was used to my quirky ways. You know, and I'd get it about a car. I'd be looking at a car and be like, wow. And we never used to talk more about it, but it would just come at the most random times. It doesn't so much directed at Roger, maybe because we lived together for so long, and I don't know why. It would go the other ways. It would be like something behind him. I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, but in here it's not about you as the form, you know, it's what you speak and how it resonates.
But it's like what happens is there begins to be breaks, and something that is really very ordinary, like the stand, suddenly you're in love with the stand, you're like, oh. And it's an energy of shifting, because your amness is actually everywhere, and it's divine and it's love, but we pull it inside the body, and then we see things as we think about them. So we might think that the stand is irrelevant, so we see it as that. So we see it as we have identified with it. In order to have our position, we've identified all these objects around us. And as that begins to crack, it's like cracks, how the light gets in. So suddenly we have this crack around something, and it becomes beautiful again. But it's because it's in mystery. Maybe like when I was with Roger, we were together so much, maybe I couldn't quite formulate mystery onto him. There was too much of my identity being projected onto him. He was too much of a figure for me. Whereas other things, it's like their identity began to disappear, and then that love went forward. They were a mystery, and then it was total love. There was no identification with them in time. They were seen as they were, which was innocent. Or that amness that feels pulled inside here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Asha. That was lovely. Is everybody's temperature good?
Too cold.
Too cold?
It's a little bit cold.
Sure. I think you've been beaten to the mic. Hey.
Can you speak a little bit about grasping, a continuous sense of grasping onto something?
Yeah. Is there an object you have in mind?
It can be anything, like a girl.
It's normally the opposite sex. The opposite sex or money.
Yeah, or knowledge, or enlightenment.
Oh yeah.
Or
Yeah.
anything, recognition. Everything.
Yeah. And now, in you, if you just go into your body, is there a sense of something that's stronger that you want than other things? If you could just express the strongest want that you have at the moment, and then we can explore that.
Yeah, a partner maybe.
Okay, so I did have to blow my nose. Do you have a partner at the moment?
No.
No.
I
So-
see that as a, also when I intellectually analyze it, I don't see that as necessary, but it's something like it's coming. But when I analyze it, about also it is, I see that as not necessary. So I hold back, and then
Okay,
it doesn't happen.
but we're going to go the opposite way round. So I would love if you could describe how that woman, that imaginary woman that you would like, will make you feel when you have her. Just the positive. So what it is that you want, what feeling it is that you want from that.
Yeah, it feels like I will feel more complete. Yeah.
And what is it that you like about that complete feeling?
A feminine presence in my area or in my region.
And in your body, I'm not talking sexual here, but if that comes, then that comes. But in your body, what feeling does it bring, and which area in your body, the imagination? If it's sexual, that's okay. You can go there.
It's not sexual. Sometimes maybe, but most of the time it is not.
And so what's the feeling that you want from her in your body?
Yeah, it's like I have been single all my life, so it's like a feminine aspect of,
Yeah,
it has been a masculine aspect all the time.
yeah.
So maybe I think a feminine aspect in my life.
That's beautiful.
That's the thing.
That's beautiful that you've identified that. And how, when you imagine getting that feminine aspect, how does it make you feel inside? You said complete. Is there any other?
It feels, I think, secure
Yeah,
and rested.
yeah.
And being loved.
Do you think it's possible to imagine something you don't know?
Maybe it comes from some memory or something. Maybe it's from my mother. I don't know, in that sense.
But in general, if we just take away what you said you wanted, do you think you could imagine something you don't know?
It will be wrong, maybe, my imagination.
So, do you know the feeling of being secure and the feeling of being loved?
Yeah, when you're meditating and then you feel that sense of oneness where there is nothing outside of you, then you feel secure and
So you know that sense of feeling secure and loved without having the woman?
yeah.
It's in you. The woman is in you. Your suffering begins when you project it outwards. You never lost her. So everything you see out there that you want, you already know because you have it. It's just the mind is dividing. It's the way separation happens. It puts half inwards and half outwards, and then it looks outwards for that which it seeks. Just divides.
Yes.
But this is something that has to be seen so clearly. Well, it's not seen 100%, that energy will come up to look outside. And there's nothing wrong with looking outside, but it will just become more and more apparent. You never find it out there. To truly love another is to want nothing from them. And then you see them in love. Then you see what love is.
Well, I understand that, and I feel that also, but then I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, then the grasping comes again.
Yeah.
And it will begin to be seen more clearly over time.
Yes.
The more it's seen that she is inside you. That is inside you. You never lost it. You wouldn't be able to long for it if you didn't know it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Hey.
Hi. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing this because I have no question. So I'm preparing, but I don't know what I'm preparing for.
That's okay, you can take your time if you've got nothing yet.
I just came to meet you, and I was listening to you speaking in the beginning, and I felt very touched when you said we're love.
Yeah.
And then I kind of lost it because you speak very fast and very slow today. So.
Because it just feels like you lost it. It's actually, when you felt touched, what happened is the focus on the you, so the focus on the illusion, just stopped momentarily. So actually, the person that feels like it got touched never got touched. It actually cleared out of the way. And then your heart resonated. So your true self came out a little bit. And that's what happened, which is really sweet. And then I started speaking quickly, and then the clouds came back of you, and then there was a focus on you again. So you actually never lost it. It's just hiding. It's in hiding.
I feel a lot of love now. It's not hiding.
Thanks. What was your name?
Puja.
You still wanted to. You guys sat on the floor doing so well. You know what you can buy in Pune, which I think is a great thing to have in India, is these little fold-away chairs. I don't know if they have them around here. They should invent them around here. You know, these little cushion chairs. You sit in them and then they suddenly become a chair. They have little strings on the side.
So testing the sound. So I could start with a small interlude if that's okay. It's a short. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
So when I talked with you the other day, I got something wrong. I used the word philosopher's stone. You know, this thing
Yeah.
testing if gold is real gold. I call it philosopher's stone, and a part of me knew that's not the right word. It's called a touchstone, that kind of thing. And the funny thing is that, and so that's test if something is gold or not.
Yeah.
Philosopher's stone turns base metal into gold.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did think that because of
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So what I said.
But I didn't know.
What I said was I wanted you to be the philosopher's stone, and I trust that you are the philosopher's stone. That's what I said, and I think that's kind of nice. And continuing in that vein, yesterday evening I was sitting with Asim actually, who was speaking here. I realized that I was already in the. It didn't happen then, but I realized, oh, there are no thoughts, there is no time, nothing has any weight. It's like a dream. It was, you know, fantastic, and I just realized that, and I didn't know when it began, so to speak. And I thought maybe if I can explore this with you, it will get you talking about non-duality, as we all love, helping this, and also maybe strengthen this. Whatever made this happen, I would like it to be more of that. And so it was very close also, that's one reason I wanted to come up today, because you were talking about there is only seeing, there was no eye seeing, and there was no world that was being seen. And there was nobody either that was, oh, what is going on? I tried to understand it. But I was really, it was a fantastic, it felt, yeah, that's where I want to be. And also, it's good once in a while to get some affirmations that the spiritual path is, you know, something good is coming. So if you were at the dark side, the last time I was sitting here.
If we were, sorry.
If you were at the dark side, the last
Dark side.
time I was sitting here, maybe now we can try to explore the light side. Because it seemed like I had a premonition or a temporary taste of what you're speaking about.
So what do you feel right now? Like, it doesn't just have to be emotions, just you can just list off the sensations.
There is some, I don't want to call it anxiety because there's nothing negative about it, but there is some excitement, let's call it.
Yeah.
My body is,
Yeah.
you know, I can feel my heart, and,
Yeah.
and there's a little bit of that. And there is, you know, my mind is, can start to spin.
Yeah.
And there is one part that says, you're not coming here to try to get anything, because that's not what you should do. And the other thing is I'm not. I am not, because it is like, the other part says that. So there are two sides of this.
Okay, so now go down to your feet.
Okay.
Put the attention down your feet. Kneecaps. Groin. Tummy. Solar plexus. Heart. Shoulders. Arms. Throat. Behind the eyes. And top of head. That world you just explored doesn't have an inside or outside, and the one that was exploring it isn't the experiencer, it is an experience. And that experience of you that felt like it was putting its attention and moving its attention is something that comes and goes and doesn't actually have free will or choice, but it seems as if it does. It comes with the feeling of free will and choice, that you can move your attention. But that's not who you truly are. There is something much bigger experiencing. And that experiencer is found in everything, not just that limited movement of awareness. That's personal awareness, which is a functioning. We get stuck there and the awareness gets stuck in our mind and in our thoughts, and we feel like we're this person that's behind the eyes choosing, and we can move our attention and we can choose to do things, but actually there's something that knows that's much bigger. That is appearing in a small space. That is appearing in a huge space. That is a small, tiny part of experiencing. Experiencing is endless. And when I said put your attention in that area of the body, there is actually no inside or outside world. Those senses are infinite. Our mind puts them into place in relationship with things, makes them feel limited, but they are not limited. So do it again. Put your attention into your toes, into your soles of your feet, your shins, kneecaps, your legs, top of the legs, groin, tummy, solar plexus, heart, shoulders, arms, throat, behind the eyes, top of head. You are a limited space experiencing itself. Limited space. You are the limitless space that's experiencing itself. You are not that limitation that feels like it's moving attention. That's a functioning. That is not you. That is the lie. That you have free will, you have choice, and that this is your life and that I'm speaking to you. But that is known in affinity, in something that cannot even be described. When the thoughts drop away, there is simply this, which is endless presence, that belongs to no one and is. It's known without any effort. This is known, and it doesn't belong to you. The you appears in that knowing, and the knowing isn't separate from the experience, the things. It is all things, and it is not a thing. It's not limited, it's not located, it is everywhere. The sensing and the sensed are one and the same thing. It's a functioning that comes up that says, I am sensing. And I can move my attention. That is not who you are. You are that presence which knows that. Instantaneously, only ever instantly. This knowing is here, is now, is this. We live here in the head because we believe that that small awareness is us. And that it's our job to find love, pleasure, and avoid pain and not being loved and fear. You are this. This, right here. That always is. No matter where you go to, even though the scenery changes, the forms change, it's always this, never not this. And even though I speak to that separate person and say, move your attention, there is no free will in it. Our conversation is like the wind blowing the tree. Nobody does it. The tree doesn't move because the wind blows. It's one energy happening. Lisa speaks and then there is a response, but it's nobody's response. You are that presence, that knowing, which the thoughts and ideas and feelings arise in. You are this. The mind keeps coming up trying to claim its identity again because that's what it's used to. But that's not you, not you. You are this, right here. The mind always wants to avoid the feelings in the belly because they've become unbalanced because you've been living a lie. Your feelings begin to have a lot of anxiety, worry, hate. Because you've believed you were a separate entity, there is permanent. So the feelings are sometimes uncomfortable. So the thinking tries to avoid that. But you have to, well, you feel separate and you have choice, go into that feeling because the freedom is there, not in you imagining getting enlightened. Not in you imagining that you don't want something from me. It's here, right here. Not in anything the thoughts say. They want to go there, they want to go here. I want this, I don't want this, I like this. All the time trying to avoid what the body feels. All the time looking for home, and home is in this, is in the experience. It's not really your doing, but it might seem like it's your doing that you go in. But that one that goes in isn't a separate entity. Just like the tree blowing from the wind doesn't move separately. Nothing moves independently. This is one energy dancing. Don't run away into thoughts. You just take the attention down into the body. You don't need to be anything. You won't get love for being anything. That's fake love. Your love is you. You don't need to be that. There's nothing you need to be. What do you feel?
A bit too much to many things. And there's one recurring thing when I get this kind of freer consciousness is it feels that I don't exactly know where my mouth is to talk with. And While you were talking, so many things to the extent that I did have thoughts and reflections, it was in so many directions. And so I could start anywhere. For instance, one thing is the thing I experienced yesterday was, I take it as a sign that this very good sign, and enjoyable at the same time.
Shall I let you into a secret?
Do I have
Nothing.
the courage? Okay, that's good.
It's not about sex this time. That nothing has ever gone wrong. You never went wrong. You never took one step out of line. Everything, the whole thing has played out perfectly. You see, the lie is that it's good and bad, and that there's different possibilities. That's the lie of the self, the separate self that doesn't like destruction. Destruction is part of this. I remember when I was, could you just pass these back, please? Thanks. I remember when I was with Roger, when I was living with Roger, he used to always amaze me how he could find positive in things. So, like, it always was, and it wasn't that he's a positive thinking. Like, he could be really direct with me and harsh, but it was always amaze me how it's not like he was into positivity, but he just saw everything in flow. And so it would be like the most random thing. Oh yeah, well, I'll tell you one story, which I'm sure he really is not ecstatic about me talking about him, but 8 o'clock at night, that night, so I stayed at home, and a big cat or something, this is in Australia, ran out in front of his car, and the car flipped, and the passenger side was destroyed. So if I'd gone, obviously I couldn't have gone because it could only be one way. It was absolutely destroyed, and the roof was flattened, but he was okay. So there was a massive storm that night, and it took ages to get hold of me. But eventually I got a neighbour's car, and I drove to pick him up. And he's just sat on the side of the road, and he was like, well, that was a fantastic experience. And then I was like, should I take you home then? He's like, no, we'll go to the party. So I had to driving all the way to the party. And then me and my other friend were like, you sure? And he's like, no. And he went on in the car to say what the experience was and what had happened when the car flipped, and like he'd written off his Jeep that was maybe, I don't know how much money. But he then ended up getting more insurance for it anyway, so got a much better car. He'd overinsured it or something. And all the time, and at first I used to think it was fake, but then after living with someone so intensely for 3 years, he just always saw it in flow, the ups and the downs. And there were so many funny experiences we had. Like another time, we lived in the forest, and before it got really hot, you had to burn off all the leaves. And so we used to rake them all up and then set them on fire. So this was before it got too hot. But one time, Roger decided just to set the forest on fire, just because he thought it wouldn't spread and he could control it, so we didn't have to rake it all up. So he just set it on fire. And I was standing there cooking, and I looked out and I was like, woo! And the whole forest was like, you see Roger running around like, whoa! And I kind of didn't even realize, I'm not Australian. I was just like, so I just carried on cooking his dinner, and he came in for his dinner eventually, and he was like, wow, that was amazing. Like sweat, covered black from all the... And then it wasn't until weeks later that I'd found out that it was out of control and that he nearly lost control of it, and it spread the whole property. And it wasn't like he was overly positive, when you hear people being fake, it just wasn't out of line. He just didn't, and it was such an amazing thing to watch from the other side of seeing that it wasn't out of line. And this mentality has to shift, that anything can be outside of God's hands. So I found this really beautiful quote. Let's see if I can remember it. No.
I know a Ramana quote like that,
Yeah.
silence.
It was about God's will and God's hands, but
Is it will be everything in God's hand, and eventually you will see God's hand in everything.
yeah.
I'm trying now to ungraspingly savor this moment because it's.
But the thing is all you ever need to do is be honest to what you are. So if there's grasping, allow the grasping, because that's where God is. If there's not grasping, never try to be something you're not. You just have to try to be what you are. And in a way, you can't even try to be that. And if that is a seeker, that's a seeker. And then the next moment you move out of seeking, that's who you are. The reason that the lie started and grew was because you kept denying. You kept trying to be something better than what you were. There's nothing better than what you are. The divinity is in it, not out of it.
You know, talking about that the whole world is helping you to awaken.
Sorry?
The whole world is helping you to awaken.
Yeah.
You know, some people speak
Yeah.
like that, and right now it's just throwing things at me constantly. I was into the Ramana bookstore today, and then an Indian guy asked me about if I wanted to recommend some books, and he asked the right person about that, and we ended up having a chai together, and he talked about another book by Anthony de Mello, and now I'm going to brag a little to show that my maturity, that I told him that yes, I know about Anthony de Mello and I have great respect for him from what people say, but I have already contact with so many good authors, so maybe I don't need another one. But he said, yeah, but this is a short book, and it's about trying to make yourself better. The problem for the seeker of trying to, and it's only 2 pages, so he sent me a PDF file.
There's only 2 pages.
Yeah, this part.
All right.
Yeah. So and I only talked with him, for a few minutes, and he said, "I'm going." So now I have this in my mailbox, 2 pages about which seems what you've been talking about now, and I cannot pinpoint how he,
Yeah, but you're still trying, and that's okay, I'm just pointing out, but your mind is still trying to find that you're on the right path in that energy. You are. It's okay, but just recognize the seeking that comes up. You want the sign that you're doing it right. You are. You can't get it wrong. But you have to just be honest with the seeking energy that comes. When there's not the honesty, then you carry on seeking on the surface in the fake world that you imagine. So that energy comes up of insecurity, that you're in the wrong way, and then you try to tell yourself you're in the right way, and that gives you a buzz, so you get addicted to it. But then you live more and more in that buzz world. It's not real. You're okay.
It's so obvious when you get a taste of the real thing.
Yeah.
That it's completely different from the other.
Yeah.
But when you're in the other, it's.
Yeah. Pleasure. Feed me.
It's not so easy to.
Yeah.
To see that, and also if you do see it, or kind of have a faint memory that there was something else, it's.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to use that insight. But I think that was perhaps why I wanted to come up, that by this contact we had now, the good part is strengthened. So I don't need to understand anything really. But as you usually speak about, it's an energetical thing, and I think I trust that more now. So my mind maybe will get more and more vacations.
Yeah.
Because I have experienced so many times now that when these good things, these absolutely good things, so to speak, they can never be. They just come. They can never be.
And what do you do that's physical?
If you mean when I'm here, I do a little Surya Namaskar in the morning, and I've done a few Girvadams, and also not now in this satsang season, as I call it, but before that, I was here a few weeks before that. I go often to the Virupaksha cave. Sitting there is not that physical, but going up and down, is
Yeah. But if you see anything that's anything to do with doing something with the body, so like breathing in the body or anything like that, I recommend that for your body type.
You're not the first. So the universe is telling me that too, because I was at another satsang a day and asked her if she had a practice to recommend, and she said, yeah, just feel your body and feel your breath. And I was into, this, who am I?
Yeah.
But I could see very clearly then that who am I, which is very good practice, and I will continue that also, but it is dangerously close to thinking, to formulate, So feeling the body and feeling the breath I felt that, this, and now I do that, and then I can see my immense addiction to thinking.
Yeah.
That when I go down there, I feel, now I am.
But it's so obvious that would happen to you because you've got a great mind. So therefore, as a kid, the mind got praised, and so that's where you got your pleasure from. Just like if I give Khaleesi every time she sits,
that's a good.
Give her chicken to every time she sits, she's like, as soon as I get food, she's like, I'm sitting. So just do something more physical, because you can see the energy goes whoop, whoop. And
a lot now also.
Not so much. Other times been more.
I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
Shall we leave it at that?
Thanks,
you
Matthews.
very much.
Thank you. What time are we at, Alanga?
16 minutes.
You.
Yes.
Yes.
Possible.
Yeah. The other day I was asking someone when they stood up, you going, and they were like, I would go to the toilet. So I'm now careful. I'm like, yeah. Hey, Petra.
Hello. It's okay like this? Okay. Close. No, that's too close. Okay. I wanted to talk about something serious.
You can push it a little bit away if you feel
Yeah.
little. There we go.
No, just don't look at it.
Yeah.
So now it comes over much differently at first rate. So the last days I feel very contracted.
Yeah.
It feels like all the stuff is coming, and I feel it everywhere in my body, and emotionally also, in the throat, in the heart, in the head very much, and inside the head.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to, like a good meditator, I'm trying to go into the feeling and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
But it seems like I did that so much, and again this all comes up now. So I think I need a little help.
Yeah.
I feel like inside myself
Yeah.
very much.
Sure. So just go into the body. And I'm going to ask you some questions, but we'll just take it slowly.
Okay.
So just try to be as honest as you can now. And everyone else can do this as well. What is it you want right now? Not what you did want, what you're going to go to. Right now, what would you like?
I like that feeling in my head to disappear.
Yep. And what would you like it to turn into?
Flowing.
Yeah. And at the moment, it feels stuck.
Yes, it feels stuck.
So just put the attention there. And notice that you have that want for this feeling to go.
Yeah.
Just keep the attention there. And this is going to be really vulnerable, Petra.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to do it, that's okay. You can do it internally. But if you can just speak out your thought stream. But this is so vulnerable because you feel that others will judge you or that you'll lose something by doing that. That's your private world. But if you don't want to speak it out, then just acknowledge the thought stream. Acknowledge what thoughts are coming. And what will happen now is your mind will stop thinking and wait for a thought, but just wait for it to come back again. Then it will think elephant, elephant.
Now, what comes is, oh, probably I will cry, and it will be embarrassing, or something like that, yes?
Yeah.
And I thought about it before, and it feels like control. So
Yeah.
trying to control something,
Yeah.
even to become free to control that.
Yeah. So just let the tears come. What will also be there is you'll feel victim to this. Just from the way you sat down and said you've done it so many times before, you feel
shame about
yeah.
it.
Yep. Yeah.
And kind of helplessness.
Yeah. This is so beautiful that you can be so honest. This is the deep down human condition. This is what you're running from. I always see these deep contractions as a great thing. Because it's this energy coming out. And there just has to be another little part of you which can feel that this isn't true. But let it come. Just be honest what the energy's saying.
It's just memories coming now.
Yeah.
Kind of Vipassana retreatment and kind of trying very hard.
Yeah,
This, I have to, because this is so important, I
Yeah.
really have to try.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then because of the trying, there's no success, what the mind thinks success would look like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
idea of what it would look like.
Yeah.
So there's guilt somehow.
Yep.
Some guilt.
These are all the basic feelings that the separate person has, and this is what society on a whole is running away from. This is what comes with identification, because you believe that you are separate and this is your life and you have control and you can control your destiny. And then on the negative side, underneath that, you feel the opposite. You're afraid you can't control it. You're afraid you're out of control, and you're afraid you've done something wrong, you've picked wrongly, and you can't control your destiny. But neither are true. But you're really feeling it. You're really able to be honest with yourself. You're not seeking to have the family or to have the perfect career or to do all these things to try and cover it up. You're not trying to make it work. There is a part now which is just beginning to be honest. And this is beautiful. And this does take time, because for millions of years, this has been the human drama.
Yeah, I think that's also good, because it feels, I'm looking for such a long time.
Yeah.
And then it comes back again and again, kind of this feeling of contractedness.
Yeah.
Not always, but coming and going.
Yeah.
And this one in the head is always there, no?
Yeah. And the reason that it hurts is because in these areas, this is where the contraction feels. This is where you feel your limitation. It kind of makes it like a field around your body that you're inside.
Yes.
And so I see them aching as a really good thing. It's like they're healing.
Yeah, I feel I need to understand something.
You don't need to understand and think. All you need to do is be honest, which you're being. And there needs to just be a staying with that honesty and really knowing, Petra, really seeing that this isn't going wrong. This is the process that has to happen. Absolute conviction. You are not that, and it's not true that you did something wrong. But the body is in that flow of saying, I've done something wrong, I'm guilty. This is the illusion. So there's a part of you that knows this isn't true, but then there's another part that needs to express it because that's still coming out of the body. This directness, this other part of you that knows that I've not done something wrong and I'm not guilty, but the energy in the body is saying that. So just let that energy come out, and you'll notice in a few days it will change. Tomorrow it will be different.
No promises.
Yeah. And then it most probably come again. It pulses for a period of time.
Yeah.
And you've got to see it as this isn't you waking up, this is humanity waking up. This is the cells of humanity, because there is no you, Petra. There isn't a you that wakes up.
No, this is the old I thinking it is something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is humanity. So you've got to carry, you're at the point in the apparent timeline where, this is the beginning of the change of humans, and that's the experience now, is that waking up from thousands and thousands of years of being asleep. It's painful.
Yeah, because all the identifications sit somewhere.
And it hurts the body, it really hurts. You can take this though, because you aren't that. You are that which is free of that. But it's just in this movement.
Yes, and it has been seen also.
Yeah.
The freedom has been seen,
Yeah.
and then other times
It comes and contracts.
it's like completely the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to keep being honest. So when you begin to feel good again, you have to be honest about what's going on there as well. So the games that you play when you're feeling good, when you feel good, you're like, oh.
Exactly. Yeah, I know it all. Yeah.
This is such a sign of truth and honesty, that you are able to say it in front of all these people, because there's a part of you, even though you feel shame and guilty, there's a part of you that has gone beyond that, because you're able to express it to others, what you perceive as others. There's a part of you that doesn't care as well. Because normally we want to keep things from others to stay something. The inside and the outside begin to crumble.
And then the mind again holds on to this,
Yeah.
tries to grab. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so brave.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's like so tricky.
Yeah, and it moves and it moves, and the whole time who you truly are is right in the center of everything. It goes from pride to shame, gross destruction, and there you are, always present. You cannot be anything else.
Thank you, Leela.
Oh, with pleasure. Thank you.